Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. And today I want to continue a theme that we've seen a lot of in The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And that's the theme of resistance and the role that it plays in causing discomfort and stress in our lives. And so today we're going to look at why do we resist things in our lives. So I'm going to read a little bit from the book and then tell you about an experience I have that's a great illustration of the concepts that he's getting into here. So he starts off by talking about our will and the way that we exert our will. And our will, of course, is used to make us do things. We use our will to move our hands and to move our mouths and to do the things that we want to do in life. And again, like I said yesterday, we could argue all day long about whether or not free will exists. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about just the willpower that we use to do particular things. And it seems like we're in control of in a lot of different aspects of our lives. So he says, it's amazing to see what we end up doing with our will. We actually assert our will in opposition to the flow of life. If something happens that we don't like, we resist it. But since what we're resisting has already taken place, what good is it to resist? If your best friend moves away, it's understandable that you don't like it, but your inner resistance to that event for years to come does not change the fact that they did indeed move away. It does not do anything to the reality of the situation. And this is very critical for me as someone in recovery. I work in an AA program, and one of the things that we're taught to avoid at all costs in AA is resentment. And to me, there's a reason that resentment and resistance sound so similar to each other. It's that resentments are a form of resistance. Resentment is resisting the true nature of something that happened or the person who did it, or the world around you, and ignoring your part, the part that you play in that. And so he goes on to say, the fact is, it cannot even be argued that we're resisting the actual situation. For instance, if somebody says something that we don't like, obviously our resistance won't stop them from having said it. What we're really resisting is the experience of the event passing through us. We don't want it affecting us inside. We know it's going to make mental and emotional impressions that will not fit with what's already in there. So we assert the force of will against the influence of the event in an attempt to stop it from passing through our hearts and minds. In other words, the experience of an event does not stop with our sensory observation of it. The event also has to pass through the psyche at an energetic level. This is a process we experience every day. The initial sensory observation touches our mental and emotional energy pools, creating movements in energy. These movements pass through the psyche much like physical impact ripples through water. Amazingly, you actually have the ability to resist these movements of energy. The assertion of willpower can stop the energy transfer, and that's what creates tension. You can wear yourself out struggling with the experience of a single event or even a single thought or emotion, and you know that all too well. So this is a great time to look at an example, because he says a lot there. And basically, what he's saying there is that we spend a lot of time and energy resisting things that happen that we have no control over, instead of just experiencing them. And we use a lot of time, I know I've used it a lot of time, rationalizing away things. And what we need to do is accept things as they are. And what I really took from this paragraph in this section of the book was the importance of acceptance and allowing experience to happen, allowing life to happen on life's terms, as we say so often in the program that I work. Allowing life to happen and experiencing that, and allowing ourselves to experience it and not pushing against it. Because believe it or not, when you feel pain, you have a choice of feeling that pain and then letting it pass through you, or feeling it and resisting it and trying to block it. And when you block that pain, it just builds up. It's not going anywhere. You've got to let the pain go somewhere. You got to let it go through you. If you try to block the pain, then it's like a dam, and it's just building up and building up and building up on the other side, and eventually it's going to overflow and something bad's going to happen. So a great example of this kind of thing. There was one night that I was at a meeting, and a person that I know in recovery made a comment to me about my appearance on these videos. This person said that I looked fat in these videos, and they said it in not they compared me to Jabba the Hutt, in fact, and it was my initial reaction to that was very fortunate that I'm in the program and have learned a couple of things. One of the first things that I've learned is that when you have something hurtful happen to you, someone says something hurtful for you, the first thing that you got to realize is that human beings don't have a tendency to be hurtful toward each other. Usually, if someone's being hurtful toward you, it's because they're hurting. And so one of the things that we're taught in AA is, hey, very quickly pray for this person, or if you don't pray, feel compassion toward this person. Try to empathize with this person. So someone says something hurtful to you, instead of closing up, instead of getting angry, instead of wanting to tell them what's what, feel compassion towards them, feel empathy towards them. And then also, I'm taught I need to take a look at my part in any situation where I'm at risk of forming a resentment. So in this particular case, it was hurtful to hear that. And I let myself experience that hurt, and then I asked myself the question, now what are you going to do about it? Like, what is your part in this? Are you overweight? If the answer is no, then don't worry about it. If the answer is yes, which it is, then what are you going to do about that? And believe it or not, this arguably mean thing that this person said to me spurred me to start taking a closer look at the way that I ate and the way that I exercised, which was none. And I started making some changes. And since this has happened, I've lost some weight by making some changes in my life. Now, I could have done some things differently there. I could have resisted what this person said and started making all these excuses for myself about why I'm the weight that I am and what's happened in my life that led to me being this way and why it wasn't right for them to say what they said. I could have done that and spent a lot of time doing that. And that's what resistance looks like. That's what resisting things looks like. But instead, by allowing myself to feel a little bit of pain from hearing what was the truth, it was truth delivered in a very untactful manner, and a very insensitive and uncompassionate manner, but it was truth. And by allowing myself to feel a little bit of pain from that, letting that pain pass through, and then looking at, well, what's my role here? And asking questions like, well, is it true that I could lose some weight? Is it true that I am at the weight I'm at because of my own behavior? And by honestly answering those questions, all of a sudden I turned what could have been a negative experience that I resisted and formed a resentment for. I turned that into a positive experience that led to change in my life, and a very positive change in my life. And now my daily spiritual existence is enhanced by the exercise that I get, by the healthful diet that I've adopted, And things are better on a daily basis because of that. So now I look back and I'm grateful to this person for saying the thing that they said, even though probably they should have said it a little bit differently. And it would have been nice to have someone to say, hey, I'm concerned about you as your friend, but who knows whether that would have had the same impact. And the bottom line is, I can't control the way other people talk to me. I can't control the way other people say things to me. I can only look at the truth behind the situation. And when something painful happens, I can either resist against that and come up with reasons why I don't deserve it or it's not the right thing for me. I can try to rationalize my way around it, or I can accept it and I can allow myself to feel it a little bit and then really look at, well, is there any truth in this that I need to look at? What part do I play? And try to use any information I get from that to enhance my own life and to help me be a better person today than I was yesterday. And I think that's the key. When we look at trying to resist things, we're in a position where we're really fighting against the natural flow of life. And instead, if we just allow things to flow the way that they do and we stop trying to resist the things that hurt us, we open ourselves up to the potential for actually learning lessons that can impact us both spiritually, physically, and mentally in a positive way that we never would have learned otherwise. That's it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow with more. In the meantime, have a great day.